Abdi Nageeye and Sheila Chepkirui win maiden New York City Marathon titles. Abdi Nageeye of the Netherlands and Sheila Chepkirui of Kenya won the 2024 New York City Marathon, each prevailing in the final stages of the race to clinch their first world major titles. After a brutal 26.2-mile slog through New York's 5 boroughs, from Staten Island to Central Park, in the heart of Manhattan, Nageeye, 35, reached the finish in 2:07:39, just 6 seconds ahead of Evans Chebet, the 2022 men's champion. Chepkirui, 33, finished in 2:24:35, with the defending women's champion Hellen Obiri still visible over her shoulder as she crossed the line. Vivian Cheruiyot finished third, capping an all-Kenyan podium. "The last turn was really tough," Chepkirui said after the race. "I was still with Hellen, and I told myself, I have to push up to the finish line." Just 12 weeks after the Olympic marathons, the elite field was packed with athletes staging their post-Paris returns. It's like running the Olympics and then running another Olympic race. Ethiopia's Tamarat Tola, the Paris 2024 champion, who came to New York to defend his 2023 title in the city, told The Guardian earlier this week. Tola, 33, finished fourth on Sunday, hot on the tail of Albert Korir, the Kenyan who won New York in 2021. For Nageeye, this weekend presented a chance to recover and retry after a hip injury forced him to pull out just a few kilometers before the finish in Paris. This time, at the world's largest marathon, he prevailed. "I was out for revenge," Nageeye said after the race. "The Olympic withdrawal was one of my biggest disappointments ever," he added. "Every day during training he thought about Paris, but every day I was doing my training at like 110%, and it went so smooth that I had a lot of confidence today." New York is a notoriously unpredictable race for those at the front of the pack. "It's a mind race," said Obiri, "as you never know when it truly begins. You need to be ready," she said. "If she moves at 27K, you are ready. If she moves at 40K, you are ready." Obiri, a bronze medalist in Paris, was ready in the final stages of the race. But Chepkirui was, too. After a hard kick, Chepkirui finished just 15 seconds ahead of Obiri. Obiri and Tola had raised the prospect of a quicker race in New York. Tola described the course record he set last year as breakable on Thursday. "I think it's possible to run faster on this course," he said, "whether now or in the future." Sunday was not the day. Both Tola's 2:04:58 men's course record and Margaret Okayo's 2:23:1 women's course record, set in 2003, still stand. Hundreds of thousands of people lined the streets of Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan, and the Bronx to cheer as around 50,000 runners navigated the city on Sunday, tackling what is widely considered the toughest world major marathon. 3 American men and women each made top 10 finishes. Training partners Connor Mantz and Clayton Young, who also made the top 10 in Paris, finished 6th and 7th in the men's field, respectively. CJ Albertson, the top American finisher in Chicago just 3 weeks ago, and Boston in the spring, finished 10th. Sarah Vaughan, forced by illness to drop out of Chicago last month, rebounded to finish 6th in the women's field as the top American. Jessica McLean and Kellen Taylor were close behind, in 8th and 10th, respectively. 2 Americans also finished first in the wheelchair races for the first time, with Daniel Romanchuk holding off Britain's David Weir in the men's field, and Susanna Scaroni winning the women's with a 10-minute lead. Marcel Hug, who had won 16 straight men's wheelchair marathons, saw his streak end. Bridges serve as the tentpoles of this marathon. Athletes begin on the Verrazano Narrows Bridge, crossing into Brooklyn, arrive in Queens via the Pulaski at halfway, and trek over the Queensboro as they hit Manhattan at mile 16, and the going really gets tough. 2 more follow, bookending a single mile through the Bronx. New York's tough climbs invited comparison with this summer's Olympic course, but there is a big difference between the 2 courses, Mantz noted. While the hills were steep in Paris, with plenty of flat sections along the way, New York is more rolling. The hills keep coming right until the end. I'm a good hill runner, Mance said before the race, noting New York's 2 significant climbs in the second half. If I execute correctly up to that point, then I think it will play to my strengths. Young had always been intimidated by New York. I'm a Chicago guy, having finished 7th in the Windy City last year, with a personal best. Let's keep it flat, let's keep it fast. But this year, and the Olympics, changed his thinking. Young finished 9th in Paris, just 44 seconds short of his personal best, despite the elevation. I walked away with a lot of confidence, Young told The Guardian this week. I'm a resilient runner. The worse, the better, he said. I used to kind of be afraid of the hills, but now I'm kind of thinking like, make it hot, make it humid, make it miserable, make it rainy, make it cold, make it hilly, make it whatever you want. Because I know mentally that I can handle it better than just about anybody. The New York City Marathon, organized by New York Roadrunners, has come a long way since its debut in 1970. That year, 127 athletes lined up on the starting line, and just 55 finished. With Chicago, Berlin, Boston, London, Tokyo, New York is part of the 6 world major marathons. During Sunday's race, however, organizers confirmed a 7th. Sydney will join next year. Des Linden is a 2-time Olympian. In 2018, she became the first American woman to win the Boston Marathon in 33 years. In 2021, she set a world record in the 50 kilometers. She has run New York 4 times before. This weekend, she was back at it. Linden, 41, does not have anything left to prove. But the thrill of competition and the challenge of New York drew her to another starting line. She was rewarded with 11th place, less than 5 minutes off the front. You just never know how the race is going to play out, Linden told The Guardian in September. Anything can happen.